Starting live video. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, it's Roanne, and I want to make, so this is going to be the first part of two videos about EFT. EFT is short for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it's gotten a lot popular in the past, I would say 10 years. I believe, yeah, about 10 years. 10 years ago was the first World Tapping Summit. So it's had a lot of growth in the past 10 years. So what I want to do first is explain to you what EFT is, the steps to it, why it works. So if you're watching this and you just want to get right into practice, I'm going to do a demo video on that would deal with like anxiety after. So you can just skip straight to that video. But if you want to know about EFT, hang around. So EFT works by tapping on different meridian points on the body. And tapping on these points, they've done scans and research, and it shows, and I say they, you can just Google, you'll find stuff out there. They found that tapping on these particular meridian points calms the fight or flight center, which is our amygdala in our brain. And you know, when we go into what's called sympathetic mode, it's when we get ready to do stuff, or it's just being in the daylight, because in the daytime we have to be ready to do stuff. You know, we're up, we're ready to move and work, or we're ready to freeze or fight or flee if something scares us. You know, and the sunlight does, you know, sunlight wakes up our brain, but at night we go into parasympathetic mode. We calm down, it's darker, we chill out. But when you have a hard time doing that, or for folks, if you're like me and you've had anxiety before, that could be challenging. So EFT is a great tool to have, and it's a tool, so you want to be familiar with it. So when you are in a situation where you need to use it, you have it and it's there. So I will also find, I'll look for an image. There's a few on the web that show the tapping points so that you can have a reference. All right. Now, what you typically do is you start with a setup statement. A setup statement sounds something like this. Even though, state your problem or your challenge or whatever it is, I love and accept myself completely. Or I love and accept myself deeply and completely, or I accept myself, whatever feels good to you. That's the setup statement. Even though I don't know how to walk across this bridge, even though I'm having a panic attack, even though I don't think this person likes me, even though I have this problem on my job, whatever it is, I love and accept myself completely. So that's your setup statement. Now, the purpose of the setup statement is that our brain loves habits, right? And it's always going to default back to whatever the habit is. So we get into whatever the situation is, and our brain goes, oh, I recognize that trigger. Oh, I recognize that trigger. This is what we're going to do. This calls for panic. You know, it's the habit. A setup statement kind of squeezes the door open a little bit by saying, even though, you know, so your brain is like, yeah, but I'm panicking right now. Okay, I'm panicking. And you're like, even though you're panicking, right? And the brain's like, okay, I'm panicking. You're like, even though this thing is going on. So the purpose of the setup statement is to help open the door. Now, after you say your setup statement 3 times, while tapping on what's called the karate chop point, so right on the side of your arm, I just use all 4 fingers and go like this. So you'll say your setup statement. Even though whatever it is, I love and accept myself deeply and completely. And you want to tap so that you feel the tapping. You don't want to tap like this. You don't want to knock yourself out, but you want to tap so that you can feel it. So you want to stimulate that acupressure point. All right. So you would say your setup statement, and then you would do the rounds. Now, some people start here. Some people start at the top of the head. Doesn't really matter where you start as long as you complete the entire round of points. So the points go top of the head, right? Kind of like if you take your thumbs and stick them in your ears and go like this, right in the middle up there. So not here, not back here, right up here. Top of the head, corner of the eye, like kind of like right where your eyebrow gets to. So right there. And you see, so I use, depending on where, this is what I've developed for myself. So 2 fingers right here, and then 2 fingers over here. So I do. Then 2 fingers here under the, kind of like right, if you look straight ahead, right under the pupil, the iris, pupil, right under there. All right. And then midway between the lip and the nose, right under there. Midway between here. Next point would be collarbone point. Go down 2 fingers, you know, just to get an estimate down and in a little bit. The point, here's what you could do. Some people do this. Some folks do. I find myself now, I take 3 fingers and I go like this. So I'm like hitting all of that when I do it. Under the arm, so this is like midway between the back and the boob or chest or whatever you have. About a palm width down from where your hand is, the bottom of your hand. So it would be like there, right? Right in there. I use 4 fingers. I do that. If you're a lady and you're wearing a bra, it would be midway on the bra line. I love, this is my little extra point that I've found through research and I threw in. That's because we've got a lot of meridians that kind of cross here. So I like this, I like adding this point in because it stimulates a lot of meridian points. And then you would just go back to the head. So those are the points. Top of the head, eye, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is mine. And then back to the top of the head. Okay, so that's, yeah, I didn't miss anything. Those are the tapping points. Now, remember, you do your setup statement, even though this is my problem, I love and accept myself deeply and completely. When you start to tap on the points, you want to generate the feeling of whatever is bothering you. So now, if you're already feeling anxious, you don't have to generate it because it's there. But if you're tapping with the goal of resolving another issue, it helps to generate that emotion that comes up, you know, that challenge, that anger, the frustration, whatever it is that comes up. It helps to generate that emotion while you're tapping on the points, because what you want to do is get your brain and your body into that place of sympathetic response, that flight, fight, fright, flee, freeze response, so that as you tap, you're signaling to your brain, hey, wait a minute, you could chill out. You don't have to be reacting like that, you know, over this situation. That's what tapping does for you. And this is why you focus on the challenge. You focus on the challenging emotion while you're doing the tapping. So you would say, this job of mine, this person, this feeling, this whatever it is that's bothering you as you do the tapping. It's so frustrating. I feel so, you know, just speak it out. It's you, you know, this is be true to how you feel. That's the only way, you know, your brain already knows and your body already knows. So don't try to make it sound all nice and pretty. Get in the dirty and get in the mucky stuff and address that emotion. And you will find as you tap, and it may take 1 round, it may take 5 rounds, you start to feel the edge come off. You know, it starts to step down. So before you start, check in with yourself, you know, take a moment, you know, close your eyes, whatever it is, just check in with yourself and give yourself a number, you know, on 0 to 10. I'm super anxious. I'm a 10, or I'm a 5, you know, whatever it is. And after you do the tapping, then, no, don't do that. After you do the tapping, check in again. and give yourself a number rating and see, how it is. Maybe you need to do a couple more rounds. Maybe it's totally gone and you feel great. So that's it for tapping. And now let's skip to the next video, and I'm gonna walk through a few rounds for with something to do with anxiety. Okay, see you in the next video.